Okay, is this thing on? Hello. Hello. And what is up, YouTube? It's been a while since the balding bearded guy has done YouTube updates. And I'm going to tell you right now, I like the league. My league starter's gone well. And I think I'm going to be around for a while for this league. And so I'm going to try and do some videos. So today is the first of hopefully many. I streamed over opening weekend and I was able to play for about 18 hours so far over opening weekend. It's been a good opening weekend in terms of opening weekend, like money making. This has been probably the best money making. Just picking up stuff that dropped. I'm not running a guild bank. I'm not running an investment program like I've done in the past. This is just stuff that I'm getting from trades and from the Genesis stuff that's associated with the league. So it's been good. I've mostly been farming blight maps and mostly AFK, not quite all the way AFK, because above my slightly balding forehead, you can see what the plan was. The plan was to league start with SRS until I could get Animate weapon of ranged arms going, and then to go into chains of command, and that is precisely what I did. So Act 1 was freezing pulse into SRS up until level 4, and then level 4 got SRS, swapped over SRS until purchased AWORA. Is that what we're calling Animate weapon of ranged arms? AWORA? Anyway, up until we got AWORA. And then once we got AWORA, yeah, things were just pretty grand, pretty easy. I played one version of Animate weapon last season of ranged arms, and that went pretty good. This season, this was the time that it took me. This is what I was looking up. Sorry if there's background noise. 6 hours, 24 minutes, 17 seconds on SRS to get Act 10 Kitava. So pretty decent, I thought. I thought that was pretty decent. My fastest time ever was last league, which last league was it was using the explosive concoction, poisonous concoction thing. That was my fastest Act 10 Kitava kill ever last league. That was 5 hours, 21 minutes. So we're about an hour behind for playing a Necro and playing a Summoner. A lot smoother. I didn't feel like there was as much stress. So that was nice, at least for me. I was leveling up with a buddy. We had a good time. We had fun. The buddy who introduced me to PoE, so it was very, very appropriate. And eventually swapping from SRS to Animate Weapon, and then from Animate Weapon, which I purchased for 2 Chaos. So super duper cheap to get that transfigured gem, or that alternate version gem. Then I transferred over into Chains of Command, which is going to be, this might, like by default, just be my new league starter opening weekend build, because outside of Righteous Fire, like this is the most like ease of use on my hand sort of build that I can get to. And I've just been amazed at how it goes. Oh, by the way, I have D&D on. This is just a small side note. You see this? Somebody just joined my area and is trading with me. Like, I have D&D on, and I'm still able to trade. I'm going to get to that with asynchronous trade, which I think is also a big reason why I'm making currency over here as well, over opening weekend. But first things first, let's get through the rest of the progression. So, SRS into Animate Weapon of Ranged Arms. Animate Weapon of Ranged Arms farmed me up the Divines to purchase Chain of Command. And then once I had Chain of Command, I could pretty much swap over to using Animate Guardian only at that point. I'll put my POB as well up on or down below in the video description. I used to be good at doing this. I used to be good at doing all these sorts of things, and now it's all gone from me. So I'm gonna get it back. Don't worry, we're gonna get it back together as we work together on this. But what I've noticed as I've been playing this build is, one, it's incredibly easy on your hands, which is pretty important for those of us who have got like old people hands. And then the other thing that's important about it that I found, or helpful about this particular build, is it can farm the content that I want to farm. It can target farm content. And that's what I wanted to do this league. I wanted to target farm Blight. Even though Blight doesn't interact with the league mechanic, as I've been filling out my Atlas, I've been able to go and mess around with the Genesis tree and that sort of stuff. Other people are talking about Genesis tree. It's insane. It is, in terms of the power level, it is, I would say, a combination of Harvest and Necropolis. I know Necropolis was not received very well, but in terms of what you could do with Necropolis for crafting, and in terms of what you could do with Harvest for crafting, like it's in that kind of vein of things in terms of its power level. So abuse or don't abuse, but use early, use often sort of thing with the Genesis tree. And that being said, I'm making this amount of currency without like forcing myself onto the Genesis tree. This is just naturally through maps, but then also through farming pretty low tier blighted maps so far. I can't quite do AFK 16s yet. I'm going to take on Pinnacle bosses later on today and tomorrow. Probably going to do that on stream and start farming some Elder and start farming some Shaper. That'll be fun. But the build, in terms of what it can do, in terms of its itemization and what it's capable of doing, is really good. It's really good. And in terms of like hand clicking, hand motion, hand reaction time, defenses, like I have 3,200 HP. I don't have a lot of HP. This is not hardcore, right? I'm not playing hardcore this league. I'm playing softcore. But it feels good. It feels good. When I die because I did something stupid. I frostblinked into a pack. I did not frostblink fast enough away from a boss or something. Generally speaking, I'm not dying anymore because the game is sending things at me that I didn't see or I didn't have opportunity to respond to. I'm just getting lazy. Part of that is also that I played the Cast Well Stun Chieftain last league, which just reinforced a ton of terrible habits where I just stood around and tanked hits and basically didn't die very much. But anyway, that was last league. Enough about that. On to this league. So, once I swapped over onto Chains of Command, then it becomes all a big issue about Animate Guardian. Because the way how Chains of Command worked is your Animate Guardian and its weapons, like, they create all sorts of things around you. So, what I'm going to try and do here is, like, the most embarrassing thing possible, right? I'm going to put in a map. I'm going to try and run this in the background while I describe what's going on, just to show you the level of AFK that you can kind of go even at this low level of investment early league. A lot of folks have said Chain of Command, you can't do like early league and league starter. It's really, really tough because there's a lot of complex moving pieces. I would agree with all of the people who have played this build much more than I have who are saying that. I would agree. There are a lot of moving pieces. You need to have some level of familiarity with the game in general to know how to play it. So I echo that. And yet at the same time, like once you get Chains of Command, which granted, it sometimes is a couple hundred C or a couple div on League Start, but once you get Chains of Command, you're good to go. So I'm going to use my Writhing Jar here to create some worms, and then my Animate Guardian kills those worms, and then there's a whole bunch of floaty swords. And the floaty swords are going to go out and find people. I can go find people because it's the start of the map and I didn't teal this up. I just did it as an unanimated thing. But like once stuff starts coming towards you, which by the way, that's one of the reasons why you want to anoint up your maps is to make monsters come towards you faster. You can, and there's lots of other content creators, not just me, don't take my word for it. You can pretty much do these maps legitimately, quite honestly, full ethically AFK. You can just find a corner and walk away. The damage is that good on some of these. In fact, for some of these particular maps, you actually don't want to build damaging towers because the damaging towers will steal kills. And so like right now, here's just my Animate Guardian again. And so now I don't have a bunch of swords floating around just killing stuff because the towers are taking kills, right? So there you go. Something got through because why? I didn't have enough swords out. So I'm going to stand over here and we're going to see how this goes while we're talking about this. So items that go on your Animate Guardian are pretty much as follows. I started off with Leer cast and Zandathars, something. Some sort of Cossack cloak. That was good. It was a good thing. It worked well. Things were going all right. Then went from Leer cast plus Zandathars to eventually Terminus Est. That was the weapon that I eventually went to. I would recommend just like while you're using ranged weapons or SRS or whatever it is that you're using besides for Chains of Command, before Chains of Command, to basically use Leer cast plus Dying Breath, right? That gives you all the low budget, standardized Animate Guardian build stuff that you want to use to buff your minions that aren't Animate Guardian, Chain of Command sorts of shenanigans, right? Buffing your Spectres, buffing your Zombies, buffing your Herald, buffing your SRS, buffing your Skellies, all that good stuff. when I saw that the build actually could start doing stuff in any sort of meaningful way was roughly, ooh, let's not die there, was roughly when I swapped over to Terminus Est plus, oh, what's the next thing that I swapped over to? I think I swapped over, I eventually got a Paradoxica. I farmed up a Paradoxica. Then I got a Victarios. So this is already like several divs into the build. So this is where I would echo those folks who are saying, hey, this is not like league start viable, right? Like you need currency to sink into this build to make it work. And I would just echo that. You do need currency to make this thing work. But once you get it going, you're pretty much going to print stuff. So that's, at least that's been my experience so far. You're going to fail a couple of maps. Generally speaking, I'm probably about to fail this here with these bosses. Generally speaking, yep, there we go. Generally speaking, you're going to fail maps that are more open layered. And so you want to avoid that. And you want to avoid putting down too many towers that do damage because they're going to steal from your animate weapon, right? So that's one that you want to avoid. So there's one. Okay, that's test case 1. Now we're going to go into test case 2. I'm not going to put down any damaging maps. Both of them were tier 12 blight maps, right? Okay, here we go. Same layout. I'm only going to put down empowering towers. Not going to put down any scout towers. Let's see what we do. We'll put down some freezing towers is what we'll do. Not freezing towers, stone towers. And we're going to see what happens, okay? And I'm going to keep talking you through the AG while we're doing this. So, other than the AG getting set up with Terminus Est, Leer cast, Zandathars, maybe like, what is it called? The Soldier's Gloves? I forget what those are called. Soul something? Anyway, other than the gloves, you just want to stack life, right? You just want to stack life onto your Animate Guardian because with all the changes to Animate Guardian, I've run this build in the past with Chains of Command and it didn't work well. And the reason why it didn't work well is because if you lost your Animate Guardian, if it died for whatever reason, then you'd have to like go out and purchase all of that gear again, and it was prohibitively expensive. Nowadays, even if your Animate Guardian dies in a map, you've just lost the investment of the map. That's it. That's all you've lost, because you can resummon the Animate Guardian in another zone, and as soon as you leave the zone, as soon as you resurrect at your checkpoint, boom, you're back at it. You've got your Animate Guardian, all that good stuff. In terms of other items to get, he's got a Victarios on him right now. You can kind of see he's got a Victarios, he's got a Belly of the Beast, and he's got a Paradoxica. And he's got a Leer cast. That's a really funny animation of the Leer cast that you can see there. I don't even have boots on this guy. I don't even have gloves yet on this guy. Okay? And we're just farming. Every once in a while, if I lose a map, don't really care. But we're farming, and I'm constantly just pushing tiers. Basically, if I can do a tier of a map and I don't fail it 2 times in a row, I go up to the next tier. That's pretty much how I've been progressing. So I got Paradoxica, big purchase upgrade. Got Victarios, cheap. Got a HYRRIS, cheap, which that actually goes on your character. Got a Ancient Skull, cheap. I've just got a bunch of other garbage gear. Foulborn, United, and Dream, super duper cheap this league. Totally recommend grabbing one if you're using Animate Weapon. If you're using anything poison, if you're using SRS poison, if you're doing anything that's poison this league, this is a really, really highly recommended thing to go get. If you're using the Holy Relic of Nova, like this will just get you to your breakpoints super duper easy without ever having to get Ashes of Stars. Early on. Also, the Envy skill is quite a good amount of damage early on, which is always helpful, always appreciated. So lots of good stuff that are here with the build. Lots of good things for me yet to improve. I've just basically sunk money into the big things like the Paradoxica, like the Chains of Command. Belly of the Beast was cheap. There was a couple of C. HYRRIS was cheap. Everything else is cheap. The next big things to upgrade are like Gravebind for the gloves, because that makes it so that way only the first line of Chains of Command is what's going to proc, because we don't care about, like, the second line still summons weapons. The level 18 Animate Guardian's weapon is fine, but we want to trigger the higher level thing all the time, and Gravebind, the gloves, will allow you to do that. So do you see how we're actually progressing through this map? And I wanted to show this to you. Like, I still might fail this map, right? I could still crash this, but all I've got is an empowering tower. That's it, an empowering tower and 1 stone tower, and this map is already going better than the last one, right? It's the same layout, roughly the same space, all right here. By the way, I'm even leveling doing this stuff. Occasionally I'm dying. I'm not saying this is, again, this is not a hardcore build. I would not build this in hardcore. I would not play this in hardcore, but it's good. It's really, really good. It's, so far it's making me early currency. So far it's super duper easy to play. Super duper chill. I can be out of practice making YouTube videos and out of practice playing Path of Exile, and this is all still going on and just, oh, there we go, and doing great. And I can just be standing in degens apparently and not care about it. So yeah, it's going good. And it's Sunday. Like, the league just started on Friday. With most of my other builds, I wouldn't be able to take on a tier 12 map maybe until Tuesday or Wednesday, right? Just in terms of progression and in terms of money making. So the Genesis tree is a bunch of stuff. Blight content is still a bunch of stuff in terms of currency. And then this build. Like, this build is just, it's just really, really good, and it's really, really solid, even if it is early on. All right, now let's talk about asynchronous trade here. Once this map wraps up, that's when I'm really just going to go crazy about this. We have been wanting, I'm kind of like the boomer in the PoE discussion community space, right? Like, there's lots of boomers who are here, but I'm kind of like the old historian of PoE who likes to bring up back in my day about PoE. Back in the day, we all used to rave about what would happen if GGG ever made a PoE Breach 2.0. Not PoE 2, but PoE Breach 2.0, right? Like, what would that look like? What would that be like? How much fun would that be? What mechanics would change? What rewards would change? All that good stuff. So now we have it, right? Like, we have it. And it's good. It reminds me a little bit, actually, of Blight content in terms of the fortresses, when you get fortresses. It reminds me a little bit of Blight content when you get the expanding pustules that you need to defend and kill a whole bunch of things in order for the Blight to expand and then stabilize. Like, it reminds me of a lot of other styles of content that this build, unironically, is actually really good at farming. And so maybe I just got lucky and I picked a good build for the content type. But the league content itself is both rewarding and powerful, but it's also really well designed. You've got crafting options, you've got map interactions, like there's mini games to play, but there's also diversity in those mini games. It's not just a singular thing, oh, go touch the hand, and then that's that. So I would say in terms of the league, as it's dropped, it has been very, very enjoyable and very, very good. In terms of some of the things that have been... Oh, am I going to lose it right here with the boss? I might. There's one boss. Oh, there's a second. Oh, there's a second. We're right here at the end. The timer's already done, so maybe I won't lose it. In terms of rewards, I think for all of the fun that Breach is and that Breach 2.0 is and all of the hype that Breach 2.0 brings with it, for those of us that are old, you know, with PoE, there we go. Just defeated it. By the way, did you see that? The two comparisons? If you build scout towers, you might accidentally, like, brick the map. But if you don't and you just trust your weapons to do the stuff, you'll complete the map. So back to what I was saying. I think regardless of how good the Breach League mechanic is itself, even better is asynchronous trade. That if they only would have said we're going to do asynchronous trade, where you can go D&D mode and stuff is still selling. You can go offline and stuff is still going to sell. You can be in someone else's hideout making a trade and your stuff is still going to sell. All of this stuff, all of it, is worthy of a league unto itself. You could have called it Merchants League, okay? Now, they did hide this asynchronous trade behind purchasable tabs that you have to purchase, right? They're 30 coins or whatever it is right now in game, okay? It requires in-game purchases of real money, right? So if you don't like that, right, as has always been the case with GGG and with Path of Exile, don't do it, right? If you're not going to purchase tabs, so be it. We've got to recognize at this point, though, there is a power level behind that, okay? For those of us that want to go true ethical, like, hey, I'm not going to take any advantages, pay to win, there is some aspect of pay to win to this. I'm inside this map, and whenever you saw a notification popping up here that somebody traded, like, I'm just making currency from just putting things in a particular type of vendor tab. That's it. That is a power level that has previously not been available in Path of Exile. You have always had to stop what you're doing to go make trades or find somebody else in your guild to be the guild trader, right, in order to do that. But now, once you come out of your map, look at that. I was inside my map. Faustus now has a notification. He's got the gold notification above him. And what you do is you go over here to Manage Shop, you go over to your earnings, and you go, hey, boom, I sold something. And it goes instantly into your inventory as soon as you click on it. Really, really good. Really, really nice the way how this whole thing works. And you can buy multiples of these tabs. You can go here, add a new tab. You go here to the stash tab, boom, you buy the merchants tab. That's what it is. It's normally 40 coins. It's 30 right now. I spent all of my coins that were remaining on it. So I've got 3 of them, which is good. I'm just throwing junk in here. I'm throwing all sorts of junk in here. Right now I'm just throwing junk in here just for the sake of getting alterations to spam Ghastly Eye Jewels. then you sell them. You sell them for profit because there's so many people playing poison of all sorts of different types with minions. Like asynchronous trade, if you go delving, if you go to lab, how often were you not able to complete a trade because you went to lab, right? It doesn't matter. If you put it into Faustus's shop and you list it, like, it will sell. If you want to undercut people who are selling things at a price fixer price and you just want to turn the thing into currency immediately, you can do that if you want to. You can just list it and boom, away it goes. So I'm going to show you here really quick. I think I've got one pulled up, or I had one pulled up. Yep, here we go. I'm going to pull one up here. All right, this is a search for instant buyout and in-person trade. Okay, I can go to instant buyout only and search for blight maps, which I've got this sorted for like tier 12s and whatever not. Okay, like as soon as I click on this, watch this. As soon as I click travel to hideout, PoE's loading in the background, and I'm there. I'm interacting with this person who's got the blight park map. You're just there. You buy it, and it's done. It's done. It costs you a little bit of gold. It costs you whatever chaos it is that the person put it up for, and it's there. So in this case, it was 3C and 300 gold. That gold, like, blight is horrendously notorious for not giving you enough gold for like sustaining King's March and stuff. That amount of gold that you make in a blight map is enough to sustain that. To sustain just like instant purchases of things. And this isn't just maps. This is items. This is jewels. This is everything. Like, you can just throw dump tabs. Like, I'm still using dump tabs for some things, but as soon as I figured out how quickly these things sold and how quickly you can move things, Faustus becomes your new dump tab. You just throw things in Faustus, and if people want to buy it, so be it. Now, if you're worried about price checking things and you're using a dump tab to actually price check and not actually sell things, then you want to use it in another spot, right? An actual stash tab where you have to have that player interaction. But if you never want to have that player interaction because you're farming the lab, because you're in Delve, in the mine, because you're, I don't know, because you're just chilling at the Genesis tree, because in the monastery, there's so much stuff that's good for you to interact with on the Genesis tree. Like, stuff just sells. You're going to go back to your hideout and you're going to be like, oh, dang. When you sign off, when you log off for the night, throw a bunch of stuff in Faustus. Throw it in there for some price amount that you're fine if it sells for, and you're going to come back the next time you log in, you're going to be like, oh, Faustus has a gift for me. That's pretty cool. So that's a long-winded, really discombobulated, jointed day 2 diary of the build and of the league. Asynchronous trade is good. Breach 2.0 as a mechanic for its crafting and for its encounters, it's good. My build for Chains of Command, it's good. Path of Exile 1, it's really, really good. I don't know why they did all that they did with PoE 2, but that's another video and a complaint that I've had now literally for years. Anyway, this is going really well. I'm going to keep you updated with the build as I continue to min-max it. I don't know how far I'm going to push it. I don't know how much currency I'm going to make and put into this thing. I just know it's making me currency in a way that I haven't done so in a long time on League Start. Like, this, for some of you, this is going to be nothing. I recognize that. Like, just sitting on 3 pure divs this early, I recognize for some of you, this is nothing. For others of you, this is literally as much as you'd get from like hardcore farming for a week. And I just did it on opening league weekend day with no special strategy, with no, hey, I'm manipulating the market this way. I'm just throwing things into a dump tab in Faustus and I'm farming blight maps. That's it. With a minion build that's super duper comfy for a dad to play. That's it. If I got to get up and help out with my kids with something. Yesterday I was out raking leaves. Like, I haven't been, like, my wife actually said last night, you actually haven't been no-lifing the league, and you're this far progressed? Yeah. Like, it's a really good build. It's a really good league. That's how my league start has gone. But drop me a comment down below. Let me know how your league start has gone. It's great to be back. It's always good when Path of Exile 1 feels good. And this league, it feels good. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you join me the next time. And in between now and then, I hope your Mirror of Calandra drops for you. Thanks for watching that video. If you'd like more information on any of our discussion points today, you can see them down below in the video description. If you'd also like to join our Discord or support our Patreon, you can do so with the links down below. Thanks again, and big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters.